Straight ahead, up in the air, your next flight at Dallas Love Field or DFW International Airport could be delayed or canceled because of the record-long government shutdown. We speak with two members of Congress from North Texas about whether this has become a game of political chicken between Democrats and Republicans. Exclusive interview, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson discusses urgent issues facing the city, the potential for Dallas PD to work more closely with ICE, the future of City Hall and DART, and keeping the Dallas Mavericks and Stars from leaving the city. And surprising results. How did a Democratic candidate for a rare open state Senate seat in a Republican majority district in Tarrant County force a runoff with a conservative candidate? We speak with both, who are now in a runoff about their message to voters. Good morning, I'm Jack Fink. Get your fix for Texas politics. Eye on Politics on CBS News Texas starts now. Hello and welcome to Eye on Politics. Hope you're having a good weekend. Lots going on. Let's start with the ongoing government shutdown, which became the record-long shutdown on Wednesday when it reached 36 days. As a result, the FAA ordered the airlines to phase in a 10% cut to the number of domestic flights at Dallas Love Field and DFW International Airport and nearly 40 others across the country. We've seen long lines at airports as TSA officers and air traffic controllers have not shown up for work because they haven't gotten paid. They've missed 2 paychecks and may miss more. Senate Republicans and Democrats started negotiating last week to figure out how they could agree to reopen the government, while House Republicans passed a clean continuing resolution to keep the government open in September. That has not happened in the Senate, where they need 60 votes. Republicans in the Senate need enough Democrats to join them to pass the House bill, but that hasn't happened just yet. We spoke with Democratic Congresswoman Julie Johnson of Farmers Branch, and I asked her if this is becoming a political game of chicken to see which political party blinks first.
It's not political chicken to me. I think this is really serious issues. People's health care is very, very important. And that is what I've heard from my constituents consistently is please do whatever you can to keep my health insurance stated. People's health premiums are significantly going up if this were to pass by 2, 3, 4 times. And it's unaffordable for people to do that. So it's not a game to Democrats. This is a very serious business. It might be games to Republicans because they're not serious. They haven't come to the table. They haven't been working. They've been not in D.C. The Speaker has not called Republicans back.
Well, all the action, though, is in the Senate because the House passed the bill, the clean CR. So it's really depends on what the Senate is going to do.
Well, Senate Democrats have offered a proposal to open the government, maintain the status quo for the Affordable Care Act and SNAP, and Republicans in the Senate has voted that down 14 times. So they're not serious about reopening the government. There's a proposal that takes care of it all, that maintains health care for the American people, which is widely popular. And I think we've seen that last night with these electoral results that were consistent across the country with significant turnout, significant wins for Democrats.
The Secretary of Transportation is now warning that if this government shutdown lingers on into next week, that they may have to shut down parts of the U.S. airspace because federal workers who aren't getting paid are not showing up. How serious is this in your mind?
That's very serious. Obviously, our country needs a robust transportation system, our business environment, the personal transportation needs of the American people and business and everything. Well, of course, that would be catastrophic to the American people and to our economy. And I hope Republicans are listening to that. They are in charge. Speaker Johnson is the only one that can call the House back in session. I cannot do that as a Democrat. This is on Republicans to actually get this done and lead and have us be there to get a solution. And right now, they're not doing it.
We also spoke with Republican Congresswoman Beth Duyne of Irving, and I asked her the same question. Is the shutdown becoming a political game of chicken to see which political party blinks first?
I don't think so. I'd hate to think that, but I know the Republicans right now handed the Democrats a gift horse. We passed a clean CR. The House did its job, passed it to the Senate, and the Senate has what, 14, 15 times now? Democrats in the Senate have voted to keep the government shut down. They have recognized the fact that it is painful, that it is causing working families, small businesses, everyday Americans, it is very painful. It is very hard on them. And what they've done is they've defined it as having leverage. What they've done is they've said they had a $1.5 trillion wish list that they wanted added to a very short term funding bill. And it's very frustrating. What we have gotten in our district is calls saying, don't fold.
You're set to appear at a news conference with Speaker Mike Johnson. What do you say to the public?
I think what we're going to say is we want to have the government open. We recognize that right now we are seeing, it was just announced that FAA is going to be starting to cancel flights. I think the Trump administration has done its best to make sure that most people don't even feel that we have a government shutdown right now. But for those millions of workers who are not getting paid, military who are soon not going to get paid, air traffic controllers who are having to, work on Instacart or Uber to be able to pay their rent, to be able to put food on the table, or not getting paid but still having to go to work. Those people are suffering. And we recognize that, and it's time to get back to work. This is nothing more than Democrats pounding their chest. They are not looking out for their constituents. They're definitely not looking out for Texans.
Let me get back to your point before about the air traffic reductions that we are about to see. I saw a preliminary list that was obtained by CBS News that shows Dallas Love Field
Yeah.
and DFW International Airport are on that list. How big of a concern is this?
Oh, it's massive. It's massive. We have historically, look, I was mayor of the city of Irving. One of the things that I have always complimented was DFW Airport. I used to be on their board. It is the #1 economic driver in our state. To sit there and think that we don't have, the ability to be able to get where we need, folks to be able to fly into our district, people who are conducting business being able to fly where they need to go, that is a horrendous burden.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney died last week at the age of 84. His family said the causes of death were complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. Cheney served for 2 terms as vice president under President George W. Bush. He was considered to be the main architect of the war on terror after the 9/11 terror attacks. In a statement, former President Bush said, quote, "Laura and I will remember Dick Cheney for the decent, honorable man that he was. History will remember him as among the finest public servants of his generation, a patriot who brought integrity, high intelligence, and seriousness of purpose to every position he held." Coming up, we have more Eye on Politics after the break. Our wide-ranging exclusive interview with Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, from the future of City Hall to what he says about Dallas PD potentially working more closely with ICE. Now to our exclusive interview with Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson. He recently called for 2 council committees to hold a briefing about Dallas Police Chief Daniel Comeau's decision against joining an ICE program that promised a maximum of $25 million of funding. The mayor told us he's keeping an open mind about the decision, but wanted more clarity about the program.
I've heard wildly different things about what the program does and how it operates.
Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson says he's hoping Thursday's briefing by ICE and Dallas Police Chief Daniel Comeau will answer questions he still has about the Federal Immigration Agency's 287G program.
I want to hear from ICE, and I want to hear from the chief, and I want to understand what exactly it is that we are being asked to do by ICE.
The mayor's office tells me Johnson met with 3 top officials from ICE's Dallas office back on September 4th. They asked to meet with the mayor to discuss this program in this email on August 7th, in which they said the program, quote, enables ICE to partner with state and local law enforcement agencies to identify and process removable non-citizens encountered during regular law enforcement operations. These partnerships help enhance public safety and promote consistent enforcement of immigration laws, all while respecting local authority and priorities. During a community meeting last month, Chief Comeau announced he turned down ICE's invitation to join the program and $25 million worth of funding. That's when the mayor called for a council briefing.
That's a significant amount of money for a police department that is trying to hire more officers and that could use those resources.
Chief Como sent this memo to the City Council last Friday, explaining why he said no to ICE. Quote, implementing this program would reassign officers under federal oversight, which could negatively impact response times and erode the public trust that our department has worked diligently to build. Committing to the 287G program would require an operation change away from the aforementioned goals, making our city less safe.
I would like to understand if it does require an operational shift, because I have received communication from ICE. I mean, I've seen emails from them that say that their whole purpose in expanding this program, or at least the resources available to it, is to get more participation without taking local police departments off of their local priorities and their local mission, and without impeding their ability to do their jobs.
If you find out that this program would require the police department to focus more on immigration and take them away, officers away from their beats, from working with the community, prevent crimes, etc., and respond to them, is that where you would draw the line and say, all right, Chief, you're right, I agree with you on this?
I think that is the exact right question, and that is exactly the fulcrum of this for me. I would not be supportive of anything that took us away from our mission of reducing violent crime in our city.
After the briefing Thursday, all council members there said they supported Chief Como's decision to decline the program. In a statement Friday about the briefing, the mayor said, quote, clearly there remains some confusion about how this program would work fiscally and whether and how it would work operationally for the Dallas Police Department. While we should always be willing to discuss ways we can cooperate with our federal law enforcement partners to make our community safer, we cannot afford to stray from our public safety strategies that have led to a remarkable 5 straight years of violent crime reduction in Dallas. The mayor gave an additional statement to us saying, quote, based on the less than clear and even contradictory answers provided at Thursday's meeting, I see no compelling reason to join the 287G program at this time. He said he remains open to a partnership with ICE or other law enforcement agencies to help the city continue reducing crime. The mayor also discussed the future of City Hall and other urgent issues facing Dallas.
This is a situation where I know we have issues, because I work in the building every day with City Hall.
Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson said he wants to see all the facts before weighing in on what to do with City Hall. Either move out of the 47-year-old building designed by renowned architect I.M. Pei, or stay and potentially spend nearly $600 million for repairs and maintenance over the next decade. Earlier this week, a city council committee recommended staff determine the costs and feasibility of moving City Hall to another building.
I mean, the building has some serious issues, and if those numbers are correct, that's something we really have to think about. We can't just take off the table the possibility of moving from City Hall because a famous architect designed the building.
You keep talking about the building's needs. What's the strangest thing you've seen around here?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like every other week we get an email about some part of the building we can't use because it's flooded. I mean, it's got serious water penetration issues and leak issues.
Some residents urge council members to save the current City Hall, while other people have suggested that it could be a potential site for a new arena for the Dallas Mavericks. You're open to that?
Look, I'm open to that discussion if we get to that point. And right now, we have a real serious decision to make about whether or not we want to put $600 million into trying to stabilize this building, or we want to move on from it.
With their leases set to expire at the American Airlines Center in 2031, the Dallas Mavericks have said they want to build a new arena and are exploring locations in Dallas. The Dallas Stars are considering their options, which reportedly include moving to another city. What are you doing specifically to try to keep them here and prevent them from leaving Dallas?
I want them to know that we want them here. I want them to know that we are not a city that's sort of indifferent to sports. You know, we love our sports team. We're sort of a sports crazy city.
He said the business of sports is changing and that teams want more than just a good deal on a lease at a city-owned arena.
Everything from retail development and stores and restaurants to hotels to gaming, all kinds of things now. We are going to do everything we can to compete.
And then there's the future of DART, where the cities of Farmers Branch, Plano, Highland Park, and Irving are considering withdrawing from the transit agency. How concerning is that to you as the mayor of Dallas, where DART is obviously a big player?
It's a concern, but again, I think there's like a theme here. At the end of the day, entities are doing what's in their perceived best interest.
Johnson said he believes the cities are moving too quickly.
And I would think that the right choice for everyone, and including them, would be to give the negotiations a little more time. I just think it could be a hasty decision.
He has a message for DART.
This is a wake-up call to them. They've got to do a better job of creating value for all the member cities.
The mayor said he and the city of Dallas want DART to succeed and that the region as a whole benefits from its rail and bus service. Up next, surprising results in a rare open state Senate seat. How a Democrat forced a Republican into a runoff in a Republican majority district. When Eye on Politics on CBS News Texas comes back. Surprising results from the special election of a rare open state Senate seat. We're talking about the District 9 seat in Tarrant County, a Republican majority district, which will now head to a runoff between a Democrat and a Republican. Democrat Taylor Rehmet, a union member and veteran, came in first with more than 56,000 votes. In second place, conservative activist Leigh Wambsgans with nearly 43,000 votes. And in third, fellow Republican and former Southlake Mayor John Huffman with more than 19,000 votes. A further breakdown of the results shows the total number of people who voted for both Republican candidates in this race was nearly 5,800 more than Rehmet. But when you look at just the vote from Election Day, Rehmet received 1,841 more votes than both Wambsgans and Huffman combined. Wambsgans, who was endorsed by President Trump, Senator Ted Cruz, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and Huffman raised millions of dollars and spent heavily on TV ads, while Rehmet did not. We spoke with both Wambsgans and Rehmet on election night about their results and their message to voters going forward.
I think my success is pretty clear. It's that people are wanting something different. I've been block walking all across Senate District 9, listening to voters, meeting them where they're at, and the overarching theme is that people are wanting something real, something true, and they're wanting and that's something different in politics. I know that I speak to a lot of working Texans, and I believe that's an issue that is resonating. I am looking to continue my fight for working Texans, to expand public education and funding, to get more teachers and make sure these classrooms aren't overcrowded. Those are my main priorities, and I am so looking forward and honored to be able to do that.
And how concerned are you about being outspent in this runoff? Because we saw leading up to today, the Republicans raised a lot of money. They were on the air with TV commercials. So how concerned are you about that?
Well, I can say I'm not too concerned, seeing as how I believe that a message of truth and purpose for working Texans and to make sure that we're paid a good wage in this state, because regardless, these costs of living are getting way too high. So I think that message really is just resonating, and it doesn't need a ton of TV commercials and everything, because a message of true representation, that's much cheaper to get out there.
Well, we're really thrilled tonight. We're looking at a great victory, and conservatives want to send a conservative warrior to Austin to represent them for Senate District 9. And tonight's victory is not only Wambsgans' victory, it's a victory for Texas, and it's a victory for all the hundreds of grassroots warriors who have helped in this election. This is just the first step, though. We've got a runoff, we've got a primary, and we've got a general election. And we're ready to keep working. We have worked very hard up to this point, but it's just the first step, and we're ready to go forward for Texas.
And so if I heard you correctly, Leigh, you are expecting there will be a runoff with the Democrat Taylor Rehmet. I'm wondering, are you a little surprised that he, so far, at least in the early vote, has come out ahead of you? You spent a lot of money on television ads throughout the market. So are you a little surprised here?
Not at all. We were expecting a difficult fight. That's why we're in this, and we're in it to win it. Again, this is just the first step, and we're ready to lace up our running shoes and keep right back at it tomorrow.
And what is your message now to voters all over.
So my message has been consistent. I have over 30 years of fighting for faith, family, and freedom, and that's going to continue the message. You know, Texans are really, really sick and tired of being taxed out of their homes. Texans want secure borders. They want to support our first responders, and Texans, all parents in Texas, want a good education for their kids. And the Republican message and the conservative policies and laws are good for all Texans.
The runoff will be held sometime between late January and early February. All 17 statewide ballot propositions to change the Texas Constitution passed on election night. They include provisions to provide property tax relief for homeowners and businesses, bail reform, and creating a new annual fund to increase water sources for the state for the next 20 years. And don't forget, you can watch all our full interviews from today's show on our CBS Texas YouTube page. And while you're there, please hit the subscribe button. That's all for a busy Eye on Politics today. Thanks as always for watching. I'm Jack Fink. I am listening, and we are listening to you at CBS News Texas. I'll see you again next week, and from all of us here, have a great weekend.